What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Mark Walberg. Welcome to Bonfire Talks podcast with me and my producer and friend, Kalen Bean. Kalen, how you doing, buddy boy?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too. You're always so even. There's never a high, oh, my God, frenetic Kalen. There's never a depressed Kalen. There's just good to see you, Kalen.
Well, last week was a rough week for me. Someone broke into my storage unit and stole a bunch of my stuff.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Like a break-in like you see in the TV shows?
I guess so, yeah. They broke in. I saw it, called the cops. Cops came out, and they talked. I've had the storage unit for like 4 or 5 years, and the cop goes to the guy and goes, have you had has there been a lot of break-ins or something recently? And the guy at the place went, yeah, it happens all the time. I don't know. What?
What? Isn't that like the whole reason you rent a storage unit at a place is that they're going to provide some sort of security?
You'd think so.
Did you lose some really important stuff?
Not really important, but things that were kind of close to me and other valuable stuff, equipment, sound equipment, a computer, snowboarding equipment. They stole my snowboarding helmet and goggles, which were very nice, and left my snowboard. I said to the cop, I was like, why would they steal a helmet and goggles? And he goes, I don't know. They're probably
because they had a snowboard
man.
already.
I don't know.
They just stole the things they needed.
Yeah.
That's such an invasion. It's such a terrible feeling. It's not the thing. It's how it feels when somebody breaks into your world and takes things that belong to you. It's just such a weird feeling. I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess.
I guess it is what it is. I'm glad you weren't there and it wasn't a, I've been watching a lot of shows. Robbie's picking what we watch, and they're all whodunit kind of things.
Are you watching Pluribus?
I started Pluribus. I haven't finished it, but we watched All Her Fault.
Oh, yeah. The Netflix one?
I think it's Peacock.
Oh, maybe that's not the Claire Danes one on Netflix.
No, that one I started last night. And then the other one I watched we watched All Her Fault, Task.
Right.
Which everybody else is hip to but me. I was the last one. I've been on the road. I've been on that bus and truck with Wheel of Fortune. And so there's no TV really, so I haven't been able to watch a lot. So I watched Task, and I have to tell you, one of the things Robbie hates most about me is when we watch these kind of thriller whodunit things, I figure them out ahead of time. I did not figure this one out, and I loved it. It was good.
I watched the first episode, and at the end of the first episode, spoiler alert, I'll just say something happens with like a little kid.
Yes.
And I can't, since I've had my kids, I can't do like little kid stuff in movies and TV shows. So I'm like, I don't want to watch, so I haven't watched
Same there's one specific area. I can't watch father-daughter shit.
Right.
I don't care what it is. I mean, I can't watch TikToks with a father-daughter. And I'm constantly texting Goldie going, sending her something, I'll text her like, I just watched a movie and I just want you to know I love you. And she always texts back, are you crying like a little bitch? And I'm like, yes, I am. And that's what I love most about her. So here's where, since I've seen you, so much has happened. I've been on the road. I did like 20 cities with Wheel of Fortune Live. By the way, thank you to everybody I met on the road. That was great. I loved that people were responding. I told you before I left that I was going to try to be purposeful about this trip. Like, what can a game show do? It's sort of stupid, this game show, whatever. And I decided that I was going to kind of that was when I was really going through I did the whole episode about being a coward and not stepping up politically.
Yeah.
And then I said I was going to use this tour to kind of be a stand for us being unified. And so rather than just feeling it, I started to say it on stage, to feel out how people would respond. And I was basically saying, look, I just want to say thank you for coming. And for the next 90 minutes, we're all going to do this game show thing together, and the only thing you really care about is solving these puzzles. It's Wheel of Fortune, by the way. And I said, and I think it's a testament to the fact that we can sit next to one another, and without getting into what we believe, we can remember that we actually get along a lot better than the powers that be would tell you, that in fact we actually do like one another and enjoy a lot of the same things, and that it's the swirl of what the media and everybody tells you and those leaders in power tell you, that we're supposed to be divided, and don't buy the hype. That's not what's up. And then I wrote, this was not what today was going to be about. Mm-hmm. Isn't that always the case, though, with me?
It's always the case with everyone.
Yes. I I think you all do this too. I think some of you do this. I wake up every morning, I go on Facebook or whatever, or you go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and then something triggers me and I start to write a post, like I respond and then I erase it. And so I wrote a couple of them, and one just went on and on and on. And it was basically my musings of starting a third political party. Yeah. Called, you ready for the name of it?
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me. Go ahead, laugh at me. Called The Rest of Us. Because
I don't like that.
I think we're the majority. I think those of us who are rational and forgiving and not so polar opposite, I think there's more of us than the rest of the people making all the noise. We're not as loud, but there's more of us. And I just feel like there's this place, on the road, I keep going from city to city with different dynamics of everything, and I'm just like, the basic stuff we all agree on. The basic right and wrong. This is the part that gets me crazy, is how far we've gotten from the basic right and wrong, like how we treat one another. So anyway, it was encouraging to me to be on the road and see 1,000 people every night, and kind of the response I would get, by the way, when I would say that, it wasn't like a preachy thing. I would just say, look, I'm so glad you're here. And just, can you remember what we went through this 90 minutes, that we all kind of got along, nobody argued, and we kind of looked at next to one another and kind of enjoyed each other's company, and that probably that's more like what is real than what you're told. And the audience goes crazy, like this hunger to express that sentiment. And so I feel good about that. Had a great time with the people I was working with. I learned a lot from these little punks, these little Gen Z punks I was working with. There's 11 of us on a bus. I've talked about this. I got all sorts of shit in my mouth. There are 11 of us on the bus. 7 of them are women. 5 of them are under 25 years old. And the dynamic is different. And I'm of a different age. And I found myself in 2 roles. One was they were often coming to me at lunch or whatever and posing sort of questions about life to get my take on it, which, I tend to want to do. But I found I became the student more than I was the teacher a lot. That their generation, how they relate to one another, and what's important, the language that they use, how they treat one another, how they don't treat one another, was a lesson for me every day. So shout out to the Wheel of Fortune Live crew for teaching me and loving me and taking care of me and us getting through it together. It just blows my mind to watch these 23-year-old women have to manage local crew. So like you come in and the local crew or, union crew come in, and some of them are young and some of them are women, some are whatever, but some of them are like 50-year-old dudes who've been doing this forever, and some 22-year-old girl is trying to tell them where to put stuff and how to do it safely, and they're like, listen, kid. And this is one of the lessons I learned, watching them work in the face of that, and as opposed to a generation before being triggered and angry and standing up against it like this, the awareness of them just expecting it and working within it without getting like having to correct everybody, when they fuck up a pronoun or something like that. They just are less about that drama. And it was really refreshing and really fun to be with these people and connect on that level. So they're still out there till December 23rd. If you have a chance to go to wheeloffortunelive.com. This nice guy, Jay Flatts, is doing my job. Very talented host, so he's out there doing that. So if you have a chance to buy tickets and go see it, go do that. And shout out to Cody Dove. You guys go to codydove.com. I think he's got a thing. One of the most talented guys I've ever worked with. So a little shout out to him. So, but let's talk about relationships, because now I'm a professional against my will. And it's hard for me to even talk about it. So here's what's up. The number of people that have reached out to me through DM or whatever and asked me to, if they can hire me to be a coach for their relationships. When the first couple of times it happened, I was like, yeah, whatever. I say some cool stuff on TV and they cut it down to make me look really smart. And then, I talk about what I talk about on the podcast, and some people respond and then some people don't, but whatever. I get it, but no, I'm not down. I'm not qualified. I'm not down. I don't want to be the coach. The whole life coach thing to me is already kind of like the biggest cliche that I just like. And yet I have people in my life who are life coaches that I use, that I've talked to out here. But that was never something I was down to do. And I've said no 20 times. Maybe 25 people have given actual requests to hire me as a relationship coach. And I've said no, 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 no. And then this couple reached out to me, and her email to me, her response to me was pretty impactful. And I said no. I said, thank you very much. I appreciate that you're asking me to help, and I appreciate what you're going through, but no, I don't think I'm qualified. And what I suggest you do is find a good marriage counselor, family counselor, a relationship counselor, and hire a professional and go do that. To which the response was, I am in therapy, I'm doing it, but I trust your judgment, Mark, and I'd like to hear what you have to say. Like, so then I got in this place of, do I tell her no again, tell another person no again, and that's okay to do, or is it also a little bit selfish if, in fact, there's some help I could possibly give? If this is what they're asking me for, my take on it, am I being selfish by not giving them my take? And then there's the whole thing about money, that I don't want to take the money for anything because I'm not qualified or whatever the story is. So, make a long story short, I did some research. I had a conversation with this couple, and I said, look, how about we have a Zoom with no commitment, and we all sit on Zoom together and have a chat and see if anything good can come from this. To which they responded afterwards, both of them actually, that a lot opened up for them in our conversation, and that they were already communicating in a way that was better than they had been communicating, and could we do more of this? Fuck. So I did some research. I chat GPT'd some stuff. And I know what lane I'm allowed to be in and what lane I'm not allowed to be in. I'm very clear on that. I drew up some paperwork.
Well, when you first told me this, I went, you're someone's therapist now?
And let's be very, very clear, no. As a matter of fact, legally and frankly, personally, it's never been the angle at which I attack these things. What I'm more interested in is helping people find a language of communication that helps them get past the drama of a relationship, not what went on in your childhood. On the TV show, I go there all the time. You know, this is from past relationship, things like that, you know, and I'm maybe pretending to be a therapist and playing that game. But in real life, it's really more about what have I learned in all the work that I've done and in all the relationship I've had to develop a communication style, a language, if you will, to communicate in a way that avoids or at least circumvents the bullshit that breaks us apart in relationship. The basic stuff that's so difficult for couples to get past. Which brings me to today's topic. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? If I've said this topic before, it bears saying it again. I'm looking at you, Kaylin, going, I think I've already made this.
You have.
I have done this whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, we got to do it again.
Got to hear it again.
Got to do it until we get it. Because I don't get it. I don't get it. I get it when I'm talking to other people, but I don't particularly get it for myself. Long story short, I agreed to take on this couple as clients, actual clients. We have an agreement on paper and a very limited 3 or 4 sessions is all I'm willing to do, and then reassess. I'm not hunting for clients. Please don't hit me up asking. I'm not looking to do this as a business. I'm doing it because they begged me, and in one conversation it seemed to make a difference, and I kind of like, if I can help, helping. But I don't see this being a thing I'm going to do. I think I'd like to host TV shows and then talk to you guys here and apparently repeat every topic over and over until I get it. But here's the thing that I found from these sessions, this session I had with this couple, and then with the people on the bus that I'm talking to, and in my own life, it came up this week as well, is that the thing that breaks people up in relationship the things that people complain about that become the resentment aren't the thing. It's not about, how much time you spend on your phone. It's not about, arguing over the little things. The little things that you're arguing about are not the thing. The thing is how committed you are to being miserable. How difficult is it for you to let things go? For me, it's nearly impossible. And what's interesting that we were talking about today a little bit is that the things that we resent or that we're upset about in our relationship, like little digs, little triggers, little things throughout our life, we don't forget them. We compound them. So the next argument we have, we bring up shit from 6 years ago that we obviously haven't resolved and we're still holding on to and remember every detail about, because until somebody's right or wrong and the judge has come and said, you were right and you were wrong, that's an open file until the arbiter of all arbiters tells you I was vindicated at the end of the day. Vindication is a trap. That's what I'm getting at, Kaylin. Vindication. You marked that one?
Did you? Yeah, it was a good one.
That's right. Old guy dropping bars already. So here's the deal. The trap is that there is some being, some third party that's going to come in and say, you were right and they were wrong. And then with that knowledge, both of you walk away going, I feel better about that. You see that that's complete bullshit. Mm-hmm. That's called King of the Hill. Remember that game? Do you remember that game? Or are you of the generation where we don't physically attack each other?
Yeah, it's starting to get into that generation.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. This game is not even relevant. When I was a kid, if there was a construction site, which there always was, and there was a mound of dirt laden with toxic materials of some sort, we would play in it. That was the thing to play in. And the game that you'd play is one guy'd be at the top of the hill, and everybody else would rush the hill and try to beat the shit out of the person and knock them off the hill. Then you were king of the hill. But the thing about that game is it never ends. You don't win the game. Because if you're king of the hill and I knock you down, that person needs to avenge the loss. And that's the cycle that happens in relationship. Every time you're right, you make someone wrong. And every time you're wrong, you feel the need to be right again. And that cycle will never end. Well, it'll end usually in divorce. How's that? The alternative to it is unpopular. It's unnatural. And it stings. And it's letting it go even when you're right. Nearly impossible to do. How do you hold your head up? How do you go to bed at night knowing that you conceded an argument when you were right? And they go to bed thinking they were right and it's supposed to be over now. It's an impossibility in the human condition. It's not the way we live. We can't do it. It is not our natural tendency, so we have to learn the behavior, and it's by changing an intention. I talk about intention a lot. So we have to really be as invested. Pick your words, Mark. We have to invest in an outcome as passionately as we invest in our need to be right. More passionately than our investment in needing to be right. We have to have something else that motivates us greater than our need for vindication, which is the trap. And on paper, it sounds like, well, duh. But it's not enough for us. Because the other answer to it, the other intention, is peace. Now, if you want to take it on a global level, you can see that payoff doesn't seem to work. The thing that, for those of you who are Christian, that Jesus told you, For those of us non-Christian, that God told you. For those of us who don't believe in any of that your soul tells you is important. Peace on earth. Let's just make this holiday episode. That thing that we as a humanity throw around as a cliche as the most important thing. What's the cliche about a beauty pageant? What do you want? What do you want when you're the beauty pageant? Say it with me.
Crown?
World peace.
Oh.
World peace.
I thought they just wanted a tiara to put on.
Yes, but the way to get the tiara is in the interview saying that you want world peace. Did you not watch Miss Congeniality? Have you learned nothing?
No, I only know that clip of that one lady that kind of fumbled her words a little bit.
Oh, from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite moments ever, bless her heart. But world peace is the thing that we all know is the most important thing. Peace on earth is the most important thing. We are so not invested in that. There's no payoff. What's the payoff? What do we fight for then? When we're peaceful. Right? So that's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at is how do we retrain our brain to be paid off? Because everything we do is about payoff. Cost and payoff, cost and payoff. Even when we're miserable, the payoff is we get to be miserable. We love it. Those of you who are addicted to being a victim, you love for shit to be terrible so you have something to be a victim of. Payoff. Fucking love it. Anger. Great payoff. We love to be angry and rail at shit. We don't want solution. We want the state of being angry. That's a payoff we can get our teeth into. The payoff we don't get our teeth into is peace, happiness, bliss, right? It doesn't seem to work. And that's why we as humanity beat the shit out of each other all the time. But in relationship, let's make it to you and me so that we can get through these holidays in love with one another and not fucking nuts. Wouldn't it be cool the next time your partner says something absolutely fucking ridiculous to you that you know is not correct, you were able to say, okay, and then just not argue. To accept things being, to let the train go off the tracks. Even if you think it's headed straight into a mall, let it just go. I mean, Mel Robbins, let them, that's the concept. Let them. But we don't want to let them. And what's tricky about the right and wrong thing in us, our need to be right and wrong, is it's veiled in love and care for someone else, that we're protecting them from their own demise. If I make sure that what you're thinking is wrong, and I correct it by telling you what is right, in our heart and soul, what we're doing really is protecting you from your own ignorance. Religion does this a lot. We go into other countries, we go into other places and tell them what to believe to protect them from damnation. Right? Who asked you? Who fucking asked you? No one. And that damnation we protect people from may or not be true. So even in your rightness, you may not be protecting anybody from anything. You're just feeding your fucking ego. So you feel safer. Path of least resistance is the most difficult one for us to take. Because what's our payoff? No one's going to tell us we were right. We don't get to stand at the top of the hill. We don't get to lord over the people we say we love and go, thank God I'm here, or you would have really fucked yourself up. We have to just let it be. Not a real great motivator, is it? But I'm finding, for me, that it has become a great motivator. Now, I've talked time and time again about different things I've had happen in my life and my family. I've had talk about Goldie and how we had a big, fracture of our relationship. And I think it's important to remind you guys that the right and wrong thing, that vindication, the setting the record straight thing, does not pay you back. So I talk about intention. So rather than getting into the details of stuff, he said this, she said this, that was wrong, this is right, if they'd done right, this would be different, da-da-da-da, and now the record is straight and we're cool. What if we commit to things just being sloppy and messy? What if that's the commitment? Things are just fucking sloppy and messy and does not go on a ledger sheet cleanly. But the end result is what my intention is. For instance, in my own family, when we are having trouble, have had, will have, am having, whatever, I tend to, best way to describe this is when you have a Mac and it lags and you get the rainbow wheel, we're trying to figure it out. That's my brain. Rainbow wheel of trying to find a solution. There's an upset. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm clear. And for most of us, that's enough. So we'll fight that fight. I'm going to keep saying what I know to be true until you understand it, and then you agree with me. Game over. Except no, I think I made that point, right? My head doesn't work that way. I don't know why. My head works, the rainbow wheel is trying to figure out, after I have been right and you've been wrong, or vice versa, what's the end game? What is the next chapter? And that next chapter is chaos. It is revenge, resentment, scars, bitterness, blame, guilt. All that is the end game of when someone's right and someone's wrong. So you got to play a different game where both sides win. That's a difficult game to construct. From a game show guy, it's an impossible game to construct where there are players playing a game and the only way to win is for both of them to win. So for me, the way it manifests is I look at the situation, there's a disagreement, right? And by the way, I look at it this way, but I still stay way committed to being right even in the face of tragedy. Like, it's going to bring me to just fucking tragedy, but I still need you to know I'm right. Even now, as I'm trying to tell you not to be, to let go of right and wrong, I want to be right in that I know this. Okay? So get it. I'm as sick as you are. Sicker than most. Because I have a podcast and I'm talking about it. You guys at least don't force this upon your several dozen listeners. The end game. When you can't find a mutual win, you know there's no payoff for the right or the wrong. So the only way to get the mutual win, let me give an example of a mutual win. A mutual win is, I'm at odds, you're at odds, okay? The win would be, what if there's a future where you and me are sitting in a place and that thing that we disagree about doesn't exist and we're having a great time. It may look like a future where we're having drinks at a bar and laughing and connecting and almost getting teary about how much we love each other's company and are so grateful we're in each other's lives. That's a win, right? That's what we think is really easy for us to have. As a matter of fact, we think we have that in so many of our friendships and relationships, but we really don't most of the time. So for that to exist, that exists great in the infatuation stage of a relationship where everything's cute, right? We don't disagree about anything. And it exists great in I was going to say just a straight, platonic friendship. It exists mostly in relationships we don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean? When we're not really invested in each other and we're just casual friends, we can hang out and forgive things and not be right or wrong pretty easily. That part's pretty easy, and then it's breezy and great. But for the people that we really care about, that we love, why do we argue? Why do we have breakdown? Why is it difficult? Because we don't value the win of no conflict over the need to be right. So at one point in my own family, I've shared this before, I will share it again for those of you who are new. At one point when none of us were getting along, I said to my family, I have a relationship with my son, I have a relationship with my wife, I have a relationship with my daughter, but we're not a family. So my intention shifts from finding out who's right and wrong, and the people who are wrong paying the price, and the people who are right get to know that they're right and feel good about it. My intention shifts to this scenario. It's Christmas morning. I'm sitting in my chair in my pajamas. I may have even waked and baked. I might be high at 10 in the morning on Christmas morning in this fantasy scenario. And as I sit there eating some powdered delicious something, I look at the chaos of my family opening presents. And there are little children there, and there are older people there, and there are significant others there, and the chaos is going on with laughter and frenetic behavior and dogs barking and smell in the air of things to eat and the TV's playing music or whatever. Okay? That fantasy is all I care about. By any means necessary, that outcome. So that's called intention. I haven't figured out how. I've figured out why. What? What's the destination? That's the destination. You know what that's called? Peace. Now, how do you get there? It would mean, if I'm going to be the instrument of peace, I'm going to use all the biblical shit today, guys. If I'm going to be the instrument of peace, if I'm going to be the true intention of what I just laid out to you in any scenario, I'm using that as a metaphor, an example to give you an idea of how to fantasize about a scenario where right and wrong doesn't exist, that everybody's loving the moment. For that to happen means for me to have to put on hold forever, not put on hold, exorcise like a demon, my need to be vindicated, and give in and allow things to be wrong by my determination for a greater good that I'm now committed to. I've now switched my intention from everyone being protected by my smartness, being protected by knowing what's right, as deemed by the all-empowered Mark, and instead simply wanting all of us together, warts and all. And if that means that the person that I love across the table secretly feels that that thing that we were arguing about, they won, that they're right, that the world is flat, whatever fucking crazy shit they want to believe, if that means that I have to let that be, then let that be, because I've now made a shift that is almost impossible for humans to do, to want something other than me being right. And then what do I get to have? I get to have peace on earth, which sounds good on paper, but when you get in the fight, you don't really fucking have an interest in it at all. When you look at it the way I'm looking at it now, you'll watch the news differently. You'll watch our leaders differently. You realize that everything we do as a nation, as a humanity, the things we believe, I say it so cynically right now, the things we believe aren't tied to peace on earth. They're tied to my peace, P-I-E-C-E, of mind, of knowing that I'm right. I don't really give a fuck if you're happy. I give a fuck that what I think is important is protected. And I got more than you got. That's right or wrong. Make sure that you know that I'm right and my shit's protected, and if you have less than me, then I'm safer than you. when you get the concept of what I'm pitching to you, that I'm trying to embrace, that I have witnessed and experienced myself, and so quickly then forgotten and committed to other things, and have to double down again, enough so that I've done this topic several times. When you can get an inkling into what peace actually pays you, you can begin to access the strength to let people be right even when they're wrong. Let them have it. Let that be your gift. That's the peace. That's when God's smiling at you as you fuck up the world and still loving you. Right? That's when God's letting you walk around. I'm saying God a lot. Just use that as a term for things bigger than us, okay? Because if there's such a thing as an omnipresent thing, why wouldn't they jump in when you're making a mistake and stop you from doing it so that they could be right and you could be wrong and then we're clear, right? That's not how it works. Instead, he just lets you, or she just lets you. And your train goes off the tracks and it comes back and it goes here and it goes there. But it's going to take you, your train is only going to take you to where you're committed to going. Committed to. Urgh. Such commitment, event, just courage to believe and make others believe what you believe. Because, why? Because you're right, and if you follow me, you're going to be safer. No, you're not. I'm just going to feel better. Try to try for a moment. Just try. Try to experience today. Try today. The next time something happens, you go, actually, try going, you might be right. Let me take a look at that. And then be aware of the instant little taste of what peace on earth feels like right then. There's a moment, there's a backlash, there's a conflict about to happen, and you chose not to. And there's some quiet, there's some peace. There's nothing to fight about because you lost on purpose. Peace on earth. That's what I want. I didn't realize that's what I was talking about until I opened my mouth to talk about it. All I knew was I'm tired of trying to be right or having other people be right over me. Nothing triggers me more than somebody telling me I'm wrong and then me being able to prove, because I can, factually, with research, why you're wrong and why did you dare to think that I couldn't show you how fucking smart I am and how fucked up you are in the process. Even though my intention, my actual thinking isn't I'm trying to make you look stupid, but I am standing on your neck to be taller. And it is not natural or comfortable for me to acquiesce or give up my need to be taller than you to be happy with you in a relationship. I'm willing to not engage in the superficial argument we're having about the thermostat being too cold, or the way you parked your car wasn't in the center of the driveway, or the way you leave the toilet seat up is not kind. And I'm willing to say, you know what? You're right. Let's get back to peace on earth. Or at least in my house, which is the only earth that I have. It's a battle. It's the battle that's worth fighting. It's the non-battle. So try that. The battle for you this holiday season is the non-battle. As soon as you're triggered, as soon as you need to be right, let it go. The gift you give the world is letting everyone else be right but you. And I'll let you in on a secret. I know you're right, actually. I actually know. Okay? I think I'm going to have one of those cringe moments after this episode. Oh, well. So be it. I wish you all... I'm going to take a break, you guys. I got some personal stuff to deal with. I'll talk to you about it in the first of the year. I'm going to take a break from this for a moment. I'm going to come back at the first of the year. I hope to have a lot more guests. So we're going to kind of grow that. I've got a new season of Temptation Island that'll be coming out soon. I'll have information about that. I did get word that they're editing it, and it's looking pretty great. Maybe a little rebranding of the look of this old thing. But I'm going to take a little break between now and the first of the year. So I wish you, and when I say this, I want you to get this. I mean this truthfully. I wish you I hope everything you want is under your tree. I really do. I really do. And I also encourage you to, in spirit, join the political party of the rest of us. Right over here. Right in the sanity part. And this is cheesy, but I wish you peace on earth that we share together. Mostly I want Kaylin to have the peace, but you can have some too. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, whatever the fuck you want it to be, just happy. That's it.